Everyone wants a Hellcat, but these three V8 monsters can be built to absolutely embarrass one, and some of them cost way less money to get into. First up is a car that looks like it should be parked outside an Italian restaurant in 2007. But underneath that giant luxury sedan body is one of the nastiest V8 platforms Chrysler ever made. This is the 2005 to 2010 Chrysler 300C SR T8. And unlike the normal 300C your grandpa probably drove, the SRT8 came with a massive 6.1-liter Hemi V8 making 425 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque from the factory. And remember, this was years before the Hellcat even existed. You got rear-wheel drive, big Brembo brakes, aggressive suspension, and enough torque to turn the rear tires into smoke whenever you wanted. The problem is that today, 425 horsepower doesn't sound completely insane anymore. So let's fix that. Throw on long tube headers, a better intake, a freer flowing exhaust, and a proper tune, and the 6.1 starts waking up. But if the goal is actually hunting Hellcats, skip straight to the fun part. Boost it, add a centrifugal supercharger or a properly sized turbo setup, upgrade the fuel system, make sure the tune is dialed in, and suddenly this old Chrysler becomes a completely different animal. Now you're dealing with a massive V8 sedan capable of making power levels that put it directly into Hellcat territory, and the best part is the disguise. Everybody recognizes a Hellcat. The badges, the hood, the supercharger whine, you know exactly what you're looking at. But the next car is even crazier because Cadillac basically looked at the Corvette, stole its homework, added a supercharger, and shoved everything into a luxury sedan. This is the second-generation Cadillac CTS-V. And from the factory, this thing was already a monster. Under the hood sits a supercharged 6.2-liter LSA V8, making 556 horsepower and 551 pound-feet of torque, sending everything to the rear wheels. And yes, Cadillac would even sell you one with a 6-speed manual transmission. Think about that. This thing had heated leather seats, luxury car styling, 4 doors, and enough factory horsepower to embarrass a huge amount of sports cars from the same era. But 556 horsepower is just where the LSA starts, because the supercharger is already sitting there waiting for you. Instead of installing an entire forced induction system from scratch, you can start modifying what Cadillac already gave you. Smaller supercharger pulley, larger intake, better cooling, long tube headers, fuel system upgrades, proper tuning, and suddenly you're turning up the boost on an engine that already left the factory angry. Keep going with the right supporting modifications, and these things can become ridiculous, and that's why the CTS-V is such a scary platform. A Hellcat starts with more horsepower from the factory, but once you begin modifying both cars, the gap gets a lot more interesting. Plus, the Cadillac has one massive advantage. Almost nobody expects it. To somebody who doesn't know cars, it's just an old Cadillac. That's ridiculous. But neither of those is number one, because the final car doesn't need 4 doors, a luxury interior, or even that much horsepower to become terrifying. It just needs one thing: weight. This is the C5 Corvette. At first glance, putting an old Corvette against a Hellcat sounds completely unfair. A later-based C5 Corvette only made around 350 horsepower from its naturally aspirated 5.7-liter LS1 V8. That's basically half the horsepower of a Hellcat. So how is this supposed to compete? Simple. The Corvette is dramatically lighter. Instead of dragging around a huge 4-door muscle car body, the C5 is a lightweight 2-seat sports car wrapped around an LS V8. And if there's one engine platform that the aftermarket has completely figured out, it's the LS. Start simple. Give it headers, an intake, a cam, exhaust, and a proper tune, and you've got a lightweight Corvette that already feels completely different from stock. But we're trying to destroy Hellcats here, so add boost, turbo, supercharger, pick your poison, then upgrade the fuel system, intercooling, drivetrain components where necessary, and get everything properly tuned. Now imagine that lightweight C5 making 600 plus horsepower. Suddenly, the Hellcat's 700 horsepower number doesn't sound nearly as terrifying because it has significantly more car to move. And that's what makes the C5 such a ridiculous platform. You don't necessarily have to win the horsepower war. You can win the power to weight war. The 300C SRT8 gives you an old-school 6.1-liter Hemi hiding inside a giant luxury sedan. The CTS-V gives you a factory supercharged 6.2-liter V8 in something that can literally carry your entire family. And the C5 Corvette gives you the lightweight chassis and LS platform to make ridiculous performance without needing ridiculous horsepower. Anyway, which one are you building?